Start clapping right now. Start clapping for Josh Johnson, y'all. Let him hear it.
I've been genuinely obsessed since I saw it from the moment that it happened. You know, it was around Thanksgiving, and what a thing to be thankful for. Wow. I can't stop reading Drake's filing. Drake's court filing, suing UMG. I mean, Drake suing UMG, Spotify, I think iHeartRadio, yeah. Like, he's suing everybody but Kendrick. Like, all right. In case you don't know, because I don't expect everybody to just know everything I'm talking about all the time. In case you don't know, Kendrick Lamar is a rapper. He's a phenomenal rapper. You know, some are saying the best to ever do it, right? There are a lot of people that, yeah, except Drake, yeah. Kendrick Lamar is absolutely killing it right now, and he was in a beef with Drake. Now, if you don't know, Drake was a rapper. He was a rapper until Kendrick Lamar rapped while he was rapping, and then they did it at each other, and it did not go well for Drake. Now Drake is suing, and it's such a thing to take apart because it's genuinely complicated, right? Like not just the suit, but the reasoning for the suit, and like who would actually be in like a bad position, you know? A lot of this, weirdly enough, if you go all the way back, starts with Kanye, now known as Ye, right? Now, during his Life of Pablo tour, Ye went on this rant. Now, Ye became known for rants. That was like a thing as far back as the Yeezus tour. Probably started, I actually think it started when he was touring 808 and Heartbreak, where just mid-concert, instead of an intermission, he would go on a wild rant, right? Like, and sometimes the rants would have some genuine little nuggets in them of like, oh, that's an inspiring thing that he said. I'm gonna hold on to that. And then sometimes it would be full of things where you were like, does he know? But he's all right. And in one of these rants that became like part of going to the concert, what's Kanye going to talk about? What's he going to go off on and everything? During Life of Pablo, Ye does this thing where he's like, radio lied to you, right? Now, Ye is probably one of the most imperfect messengers of our time. Like, it's sometimes, hear me out, once in a while, sometimes he has something to say that has genuine value in the industry. There are things that he says that are inspiring to anyone who takes inspiration from it, right? And there are some times where he's like so unclear, but he's like about to get there, right? And this was one of those moments, because what he was basically saying was that Drake and some of these artists, they were being artificially pumped up. They were being force-fed to us. We could not get away from them. And he took issue with it because he was like, look, you're being lied to. Something is being sold to you that is not genuine. Something is being sold to you that is completely artificial. It's a machine built by an industry to take your money. The thing that you're being sold has no soul to it. There's no artistry to it. It's just like a complex compound to take as much money from you as possible, maybe to give you the feeling of something genuine, but it's not there, I promise you. It's all been talked about behind closed doors. They've all come up with a plan to take as much of your money as possible, to take as much of your attention as possible, and to have you feeling like you're connected to some of the most hollow people who have ever lived, right? But instead of saying that, he goes, radio lied to you. So understandably, in the moment, people didn't quite understand what he was trying to say. You know? And then there's another interview more recently during the beef when it started where, Ye basically says he was, and it's something that a lot of Drake stans brought up, where he was like, a lot of us involved were just so excited about the destruction of Drake, and they were excited because, depending on who you talk to, Drake been a menace for a minute. Like Drake has been sleeping with people's very significant others. He's been doing like shady stuff. There's people who've worked on projects with Drake, and then he went ahead and even though he worked on the project with them and was happy to collab and everything, releases a project that's kind of like theirs right before, there's things he's being accused of that are like, none of it is illegal, but a lot of it is terrible, right? And so, Ye had his own issue with him, Drake, Kardashians, all that stuff. And so he was like, what people don't understand about Drake is that he has a rich baby daddy named Lucian. And Lucian was the top of UMG. And so now at the top of UMG, you have someone pushing Drake nonstop. And if you heard Scorpion, I don't know how you missed it, but it was the most pushed album maybe of all time. Basically, if you got on Spotify, there were people that sued Spotify because they were like, everywhere I go is Drake. I can't click away from Drake. He's coming up on playlists that have nothing to do with him just to push Drake. You will literally type in, look, I'm looking for like a little gym bob to get like some exercise too, but I really want it to be mellow, like a little Regina Spektor or something like that, but a little bit more tempo than like a Regina Spektor. And then Spotify would be like, do you mean Drake and braids? Like, you'd be like, I want some hard rock, like something classic, something that is maybe like hair metal, like some of that glam punk to it and everything. And then Spotify would be like, do you mean Drake making a mean face? And he files these lawsuits, and the internet comes for him. They come for him in a way that I thought the beef was bad, but the way that the internet came for this man when he sued, they were calling him Aubrey Graham Cracker. They were quoting lyrics from him. It was I don't know, it was kind of hard to watch. Like I don't even like Drake, and I was like, man, this is a lot. This is, but he sues, and I think a lot of people don't understand what the defamation suit is about. Very quickly, basically, he sues first UMG for what he's saying is botting Kendrick, making it so that Kendrick's song Not Like Us is more successful than it actually should have been, right? Making it more popular through bots and through like manipulation because they made it cheaper for it to get streams, which means more people would play it and stuff like that. They lifted some of the copyright so more people would do reviews of it and stuff. And then he sues for defamation, right? And the defamation is still, once again, this is a petition. This isn't like a full-on lawsuit for damages, but it's basically saying that UMG shouldn't have let Kendrick release Not Like Us because of what it said in there about Drake and them knowing that it was false, right? And this is my thing about that. It's weird that he that he sued for Not Like Us but not Meet the Grams, which was so much worse. If you don't know, there's a song called Meet the Grams where like Kendrick talked to his whole family, talked to his son. It was everyone. That's defamation. I felt like he was defamed, as in less famous right then. Like it's kind of wild, But here's the thing. This is why some people are on Drake's side. And I'm not just talking about Drake's stance, right? What he is alleging is that basically UMG, who he's been in this contract with, he got a $400 million contract from them in the earlier part of the 2020s, right? And he made the money back so fast, they start renegotiating again. And if you make $400 million back quickly, they probably gonna need to pay you $600 maybe 800, who knows? And that $400 million contract was the biggest contract in music history, right? And so now he's taking these people to task in a way and at a time that is scary for the music industry. You know, music industry is losing market share day by day. I'm a firm believer that no matter what music you like, I don't care what it is, I don't care what genre, you personally, you have not met your favorite artist yet.
That's true.
You haven't met your favorite artist at all. You have to keep listening. You have to keep looking. Your favorite artist is out there, and they're trying to get to you, but there's a machine in the way, right? And so the same machine that built Drake up is the machine that is genuinely in the way of artists who are trying to get to you to be your favorite. Because you already have this connection. You just haven't heard their music yet, but it's coming. Right? You just have to keep looking. And it's hard to look right now because of basically what Drake is alleging, that UMG, some of these big ones, they use payola, they use all these things to make sure that their artists are the only artists that you hear, so that your favorite is the best of what's been presented to you, right? And it's a tough thing because to call UMG out for it, for Kendrick, without acknowledging that it
Happening to you. Right.
Like you know because you were. Yeah, I mean, like that's a tough one. That's yeah, I mean, that would be like somebody at Goldman Sachs being like, they stealing all your money. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, I believe you, but weren't you an executive? Yeah, but I'm suing because they stole from me too. They have no scruples at all. They'll steal from anybody. This is unacceptable. You know? And so what Drake is basically alleging is that through the beef they had with Kendrick, UMG actually picked Kendrick and they built him up as much as possible to tear Drake down so that when he came back to the table and he was going to ask for more than his $400 million, they could look him in his eye and say, your stock has gone down. You're not what you used to be. You can't sell the same tickets. You don't get the same streams. How about we give you $350? And it's a lot. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. But it's something similar. I see a lot of what is happening with Drake right now, at least in regards with UMG. Just, I'm talking specifically on this part of the suit, not the defamation, anything. I'm talking about the way that he's in a negotiation with UMG while something else is going on in his life, and it's hindering that negotiation, right? It reminds me of something that happened with Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson got so powerful with Sony that he both found out and then accused publicly his lawyers and Sony of working together because he was becoming too powerful. He was owning too much. He was owning too much music. This man had the rights to the Beatles. Like, that's crazy. And so he said, Sony is trying to hurt me because they're not promoting my album in an era that didn't have streaming in that way. They botched my album just to try to get things from me that are mine, And it's similar to Drake in a way because both of them were the biggest artists at the time, biggest artists in the world, right? And they're both like, just hear me out. They were both. Listen. They're both black men that everyone called white, right? And I think that some of that, a part of that, is definitely present in people's feelings on the suit, right? Because there are some people that obviously think it's funny. I kind of think it's funny, you know what I mean? But then there are people who I've heard from and who I genuinely agree with that you can't get away from the fact. You cannot get away from the fact that these two individuals, even though their suits are not the same, even though their situations are not the same, these are two individuals who built themselves up to be the biggest in the world. And when it came time for a company to pay them, maybe they did whatever they had to do to not have to do that. Now, I don't believe, personally, the botting thing, because people genuinely were dancing to Not Like Us. People were genuinely losing their minds to Not Like Us. Like, I guess I believe the bot angle that Drake has if he thinks all black people were bots. Like, that's kind of what it would take. You know bots. You know how. You know how bots be. And look, when it comes to the bot thing, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've done a version of what Drake is doing in my head, just personally, because bots are all around us, and they're actually one of the reasons we fight so much. You think that everyone disagrees with you online. I'm not saying everyone agrees, but not everyone has the vitriol waiting for you that it feels like it. We found that a lot of some of the nastiest things that get said online are bots from other countries just to stir people up, you know? And the bot has no investment in whether or not you actually get outraged, but it's just rage bait that's literally made to whether it's to keep you on an app or to distract you. Bots are everywhere, right? And I sometimes take that to my emotional advantage. You know? Like if I get into an argument with somebody online and they make a good point, I'm like, that's a damn bot right there. That's like I used to be on the apps back in the day, and you know I would sometimes meet somebody, chat with them a while, then go on a date and everything. Maybe the date wouldn't work out, but I didn't get their number, and so I messaged them again on the app, and they don't respond. Like they ghost me, and I'm like, that damn bot's something else. These bots are out here wilding, right? Like, you know. I remember I got to argue with my mom, and she was making some really good points, and she was really like letting me know that she was disappointed in my actions and everything, and really told me why. Broke it down, how she didn't raise me to act the way I had been acted and stuff like that. And I went ahead and typed in the text, because I saw the text bubbling and everything, and I knew more was coming. And I was like, look, I'm gonna have to cut this bot off. Like this. Don't have time for bots. It's a good tactic to take. Anything in your life not going the way you want, call it a bot. And I read and I talked to people as much as I could when the beef was going down. And I talked to Kendrick stans, I talked to Drake stans, I talked to people who did not listen to hip hop at all, who really didn't have a stake in the race at all. And there were people that were saying like, oh man, the only reason Kendrick stopped dropping diss tracks is because he was scared Drake was gonna hurt himself. Then I talked to people that were like, no, Drake dropped last, so the ball is in Kendrick's court, right? I heard delusional takes, I heard erratic takes, I heard takes that were just sort of blah, whatever. It's two grown men rhyming at each other, I don't care. Like, I heard it all. What I did not hear from Drake stans or hip-hop fans at all, the entire beef was, he should sue. That smells like a lawsuit. Never came out of anybody's mouth, right? And so understandably, there are people that are upset with Drake for suing, because it's like, wow, if you sue and then you win, what does that do to battle rap? What does that do to hip hop? Hip hop literally has artists talking about other artists being like, I'm going to sleep with your baby mama. Will they still do that if that person can sue for damages? There's something that is that's like linked, that can't be broken about hip hop and a sort of distance from power, right? Like if you're in the streets, or if you are street, you're not supposed to be in court unless they catch you. You're not supposed to. You see what I mean? It just feels a lot to me, everything that's happening right now between Drake, Kendrick, and UMG feels a lot like what happened between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in boxing, right? Because you look at Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, two heavyweights. In case you've never watched boxing, I'll make it very simple for you. two heavyweights in the world that were number one and number two, right? And we rarely get that in a lifetime, that the best in the world is fighting the second best in the world. And Tyson Fury is a world-class boxer, and Deontay Wilder hits really hard, okay? He's not quite as good of a boxer as Tyson, but he hits so hard, you think that he must knock the soul out of people, right? And so, sure enough, they fight. And in the first fight, Deontay Wilder knocks down Tyson Fury in like such devastating fashion that when he hit the ground, personally, so he got knocked out for a second with his eyes open, and I thought he was dead. I was sure I had seen something terrible. Like I was sitting there just looking around, even though I knew I was the only one in the room. And Tyson Fury had been through a lot. He had battled his way back from addiction, from some serious mental health issues. He talked about wanting to take his life and everything. And this man gets knocked down by Deontay Wilder in one of the later rounds. Even though he had been putting in good work the entire fight, this punch came out of nowhere and it knocks him down. And then out of nowhere, he blinks. And a part of me was like, he might still be dead. That's a reflex. I've heard of dead people blinking. That doesn't... And then he blinks again, and then he gets up, and he gets up all at once, just sort of rolls himself up and stands up, and the world is shocked. It's one of the biggest moments that year in sports. How did this dude get up? That feels impossible, right? This man sits up, stands up, and even Deontay Wilder is like, I thought you were dead. Deontay, like, he wasn't on camera in this moment from this angle, but he was probably looking at his fist like, I thought I killed him. That's okay. And they finished the fight, and the fight is a draw, and a lot of people thought that Tyson won the fight. And a lot of people said that it was a draw because boxing is rigged and it's corrupt and everything like that. I'm willing to believe both those things, but basically they did have to fight again because it was a draw. So neither one of them had lost their O yet, right? Second fight, Deontay Wilder shows up ready. And in his mind, he's like, I almost killed this dude the first time. So I'm gonna knock him out this time. It's gonna be simple. It's gonna be easy. I'm gonna get right to it, right? I actually gave him a little too much respect. I backed up a little bit. Go in, right? And Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder and beats him pretty bad. And I kind of thought he might beat him because I saw the documentary in the lead up, and there were people talking about like, oh, you know, Deontay's been knocking out his training partners when they're just holding the pads and stuff. And I'm like, that sound like he doesn't have aim. That's... You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a boxer, but if somebody holding the pad here and you knock that man out, you missed. So, you know, Deontay Wilder gets beat in that second fight. They throw in the towel and everything. And Deontay cannot accept that he lost the fight. He actually cannot accept it. He literally says, like, no, he must have cheated then. Because I almost killed this dude. This dude must have cheated. And he takes him on this long campaign. They try to investigate him, everything. They even pull out a clause where they have to do a third fight, even though Tyson wants to go and fight someone else now, and he goes on a whole campaign where he's like, no, this guy cheated. He must have cheated if he beat me because I had him. This dude, we thought he was dead. I had this dude, and then he just beats me like that. There had to have been something. Maybe he had brass knuckles in his glove. There were all of these theories going around, even in the boxing world and stuff. And that's what happened to Drake. Drake didn't believe Kendrick could beat him. He was like, no, too many people on my side. I'm too popular. I'm too big. I'm genuinely too big to fail. He thought, even though he was going into contract renegotiations with UMG, let me go ahead and have the sparring session with Kendrick. Number one, number two, going at it. It's going to get a ton of buzz. And then after I beat this dude, I'll be able to come to the table and be like, pay me my $800 million. Because I just took out supposedly the best rapper, right? And then it didn't happen that way. And so now he's saying you must have cheated. There's no way, you know? And this is a genuine mistake. Because now, if this actually follows all the way through and goes from a petition into a lawsuit, Not Like Us is going to go into public court records. A stenographer is going to have to type out the lyrics to Not Like Us. I don't think he thought it through. Do you know what I mean? Because, and this, look, maybe this is me being a hater. This is me making some assumptions. I'm just throwing it out there. This is what I think. I think genuinely that Drake's lawyer is definitely white. And so now I'm worried for Drake's lawyer that he's going to be in a predicament where he has to defend his client from the and then read out the lyrics to Not Like Us. Now look, rap lyrics in court is nothing new. Rap lyrics get used to, send rappers to jail. It gets used against them and in all these different ways. It's nothing new. But whenever you're in court and you got to read the lyrics, usually court likes to still keep things proper. So they'll probably do some replacements. You know what I mean? Like, I think when Drake's lawyer gets to the end where he's going to have to be creative. He's going to have a different word in there. Probably something like, gentlemen. He's going to be standing there having to read the lyrics to make his point. He's going to be standing in front of maybe a jury. Who knows, right? He's standing there. Okay. They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs. Party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boy. Certified. Your Honor. Wop, 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 wop. Dot, F them up. Wop, 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 wop. I'm gonna do my stuff. Why you trolling like a female dog? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord. And that's a lot of O's. And it's probably I'll try. A. Minor. I'm sorry, I'll do one quick correction here. They're missing apostrophe R-E here. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not, actually, I'll just take away the contract. They are not like us. They are not like us. They are not like us. No. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, And I'm torn because there's things in this suit that if it goes through, if they can prove that UMG and even some of the other big labels are still using payola, maybe they have to do such a big payout that they make it not worth it to do it again. That's a genuine hope that I have. Or maybe the government can look at these labels, look how much power they have, and It's unlikely, but break them up a bit, right? They're already losing market share with us, the people. They already don't have the power that they used to have, right? No matter how much they push, no matter how much they repeat, sometimes it just doesn't work. Because we know they're doing it, by the way. We already know they're doing it because we know when we look at charts and they're like, this is the top artist. And we're like, who? I've never heard of this person at all. Do you, I guess. You know? So if the structure came tumbling down, that would help the little guy, the new artist. The artist has been trying this whole time to break through. Reminds me of the story of Samson, right? Make it very short. Samson was very strong, loses his strength, and then becomes enslaved by the Philistines. And then while he's between two pillars, he begs God, give me my strength back. Give me my strength back so I can take revenge on the Philistines. And God gives him his strength back just for that little bit of time, just for that time that it took to push the pillars, crack them, break it down, and bring it down on him and the Philistines. And I think that's what could be happening here. You know, because I don't know how Drake moves on from this at all, whether he wins or he loses. But I know that he might be able to bring the structure down with him, on him, right? And there is a genuine part of me that's split because I don't think that the bots thing happened in that way. I'm sure that generally it happens with every big artist. I will say that. I think no matter who you are, there's probably bots pushing, pulling, whatever. I don't think it's enough to make someone number one, but I do think that it must just happen, right? But the part that I can't get over is that, like, as much as I don't like Drake, that's a black man trying to get paid what he's worth. You know, he made that money back for them. They should pay him. They do owe him. And I don't think they used Kendrick. I think Kendrick is not only an incredible artist, but he was at the right place at the right time. I think if this beef had happened in any other time, maybe it wouldn't have gone the way that it went. I think Kendrick is smart with his timing. He's obviously brilliant with his music. And I think that he knew this is it, right? You speak on me, I speak on you. But even Kendrick said in Euphoria, still love when you see success, right? His rival, this person he can't stand. So even Kendrick, to some degree, probably thinks, I hate you. Don't get me wrong. If you fail right now, that'd be hilarious. Like, I hate you. But also, you made them that money. You know? Because there's no real proof, which I think actually hurts Drake's case. There's no real proof that he is not going to make a comeback because he's still one of the number one trending artists without releasing an album this year, even as he lost all that stock. And the stock he can get back quickly. I'll tell you how. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but all he has to do is be like, y'all, look, y'all, could be an Instagram story. He loves that. Instagram story where he comes to us, the people, and he just says, look, y'all, all right, maybe this isn't the way. He got me. All right, I got God. But you know what? I got something for you, my fans. I have new music coming, and I hope you love it. That's it. Let it go. You know what I mean? You got God. This stuff is way weirder. You're clearly spinning out. If anything, it makes me more afraid of Kendrick because you gotta remember first lines of Euphoria. Superpowers getting neutralized. Famous actor once knew was looking paranoid. Now he's spiraling. Who lets you sue as a rapper? You gotta be spiraling to do it. That's like being a bona fide gangster and getting shot and then being like, police! You know? I don't know. I think that, you know, Kendrick caused a full release of the culture. of the movement. People are excited, revitalizing hip hop. There's a chance that with this suit, if he wins, if he follows it all the way through and he wins, that Drake could loose the people from the industry in a small way. And there's a chance that you could get to meet your favorite artist. You know? I guess I'll just end it most appropriately with a line from J. Cole. I love to see a black man get paid.
Your fave and mine. Give it up for Josh Johnson.
I've been so fascinated by what has turned out to be Women's Week in Space. Could not have seen this coming. Truly could not have seen this coming. Okay, so basically, just to bring you up to speed in case you are just like living your life or whatever. There was a Blue Origin. They went up. I don't know what to call it. Because some people get offended when you call it a trip, but then other people get offended when you call it a mission. So it was a flight. It was a flight to space. So on this flight to space, on this Blue Origin flight to space, you had Carrie Ann Flynn, who's a film producer. You had Lauren Sanchez, who is Bezos' fiance. You had Aisha Bowe. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she's an actual like aerospace engineer. And then you had Amanda Wynn, who is a bioastronautics researcher, which when I saw the words together, I was like, every once in a while you'll see somebody who has a job or a field of study that makes you feel dumber than is fair. Do you have it? Because you'll just be living your life and then they'll be like, I'm a bioastronautics researcher. And it's like, is that Iron Man? When you... I don't know. She went to Harvard, so you had Carrie Ann Flynn, you had Lauren Sanchez, you had Aisha Bowe, you had Amanda Wynn, you also had Gayle King, and then you had Katy Perry. You had this set of individuals come together to go up in space. So here's what happened. Basically, they went on this Blue Origin flight. Now, Blue Origin is owned by Bezos, and it is like space tourism, pretty much, where they will send you up there, you'll fly up there, and you'll look around, and then they drop you. But it's like completely safe. And there was a bell. I don't know what the point of the bell was, but there was a bell that they rang before they got in. And ringing the bell was how you could tell that Gayle King didn't really want to go at first. Like that, like that was tough. In case you didn't see it, I think Aisha had just rung the bell. She was all happy. She was like, yeah, you know. Gets into the little craft, and then Gayle's walking up behind her, and she goes, I've only seen that face one other time, and it was when my mom was trying to teach me how to drive. I love my mom, and I know my mom loves me, and I know that my mom, but she believes in me sometimes too much. You know, like my mom would say the stuff that parents are like quote unquote supposed to say when you're a little kid. You can do anything you put your mind to. Oh, you know, you may not get it now, but if you work harder, you're smart enough to figure it out. All of the positive affirmations you're supposed to give a kid to get them to accomplish something down the line, something difficult, right? Something that may seem nearly impossible. And I really believed my mom when she told me these things. When my mom told me, oh, look, you may not be the fastest, the strongest, you may not be able to grasp something right away, but if you put your mind to it, if you put your mind to it and you read that sentence over and over and over again, eventually you'll get it. And then if you keep doing that with the whole book, you'll understand it. You know, it's just, my mom was, always imparting on me that enough attention and hard work could get you to the places that talent got other people easily, you know? And these are important lessons. I look back at the things that my mom said, and not only are they true, but I wish more people heard them, because sometimes when you just pump somebody up too much initially, you give them a false belief that they'll just get it or it'll just come to them, and then when it doesn't, they're more likely to give up, right? Whereas if they're told off top, you're not that good at this, they'll know that there's something to work towards, and that the thing is possible, that everyone who ever accomplished anything wasn't already good at it. It took work, it took perseverance and everything. And I believed my mom when she told me all these things until it was time for her to teach me to drive. Because when we got in the car, my mom was making a face that didn't exactly say, you can do anything you put your mind to. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like if I could do anything I put my mind to, I'm putting my mind to driving, and then you get in the car with me, you sit in the passenger seat, and you going. I'm starting to think that there's more to this whole thing, you know? And so Gail walked up. They all get in the craft and they all pop off. They all get in the... It was shaped weird. But I'm not an astronaut. I'm not a physicist, I'm not a scientist, so I will be using the wrong terminology a lot. Be patient with me. But this rocket craft, it wasn't because a ship feels substantial. You know what I mean? Like the Death Star feel like a ship. This feel like the tip of a rocket. Feel like they got in the tip of the rocket. And so they in the tip, and they leave, right? And so they but up, you know what I mean? Like they driving but up, right? And so they shoot right up into the sky, and they're gone, right? And I thought when I heard about it initially, I thought, oh wow, they're gonna be gone. I didn't know anything about Blue Origin. I didn't know anything about the flight. So I thought they'd be gone for maybe, who knows, like a week or something. Like I thought it was gonna be. I was like, man, Gail gonna miss some, you know, Gail King's on the morning news. She gonna miss a couple of days. You know? Like Katy Perry's got a whole tour that she's starting on, like. And I'm sure that, you know, Aisha, I'm sure the people with, like, jobs I can't pronounce also have somewhere to be. So I'm like, they're going to be gone for, like, a week. And then they came back almost immediately. It was 11 minutes. I didn't know it was going to be 11 minutes. And honestly, 11 minutes, because here's the thing. The whole whole thing is a very cool sounding thing, and I've never done anything like it in my life. So I'm not diminishing what it must be like to go up that high. I'm just saying I've been on runways for an hour, and I feel like for what it was, they should have got some more time up there. That's just me. I'm not. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying if you go ahead and you do all this stuff to go up there, like, don't make it a high five. Like, let me be up there for a while, and then they come down, and it looked like they landed hard. Now I've both heard from friends, and then I read a whole thing about how there's this thrust that they use with the landing where it basically goes off one time to sort of soften the blow a little bit on the way down, and then it goes off one more time to make sure that you don't slam into the ground. That being said, enough dirt did move that I thought they slammed into the ground pretty hard. I thought they were all gonna be flat when they opened the door. When I saw that, I was like genuinely worried. I was like, it made me by myself sitting in my apartment go, ooh! And it doesn't help that the audio also doesn't sound great. I don't know if you've heard the audio of them coming down, but they're up there in space and they're floating and everything. And then when it's time to come down, all you hear is, it's the most garbage, like, It made it sound like they were hurting them in there. Like, like, no, listen to it for real. It sounds insane. And don't get me wrong, if it had been me in there, I can confidently say, if it had been me in there with them, you wouldn't have heard anything. You wouldn't have heard anything because I would have already passed out a hell of a long time ago. I would have passed out so fast. As soon as I saw Earth coming back fast, I would have been like, nope, thank you. You wouldn't have caught me screaming because I would have been unconscious. There's no way. I wouldn't be up here. At most, you would have got a, like, that's all I'm hitting you with. No, that was crazy. That was crazy audio. Oh! It honestly felt like, okay, because it did low-key feel like what happened in the landing was like somehow everything Gail was worried about going up. You know what I mean? Because this is also what happened. The only other time, I know I was talking about my mom teaching me to drive and everything, but I think the other thing that makes you make a face like that, like ring the bell, and then walk towards the flight crap ship. I think the other thing that can do it is like a bad pep talk. There are good pep talks. There are pep talks that like really bring it out of you. The thing that the person saw in you that was giving you the pep talk, it comes out through their inspiring words, right? You see it a lot in football movies. They're like, Coach, we can't. Coach, we can't get another touchdown. They big. They big and we not as big. Coach, we can't do it. All right? They're big and they're pushing this way and we're trying to go that way. Coach, it's impossible. We cannot get another touchdown. I know all we need is another touchdown to win the big game and not feel like losers, but it'll never happen. And then the coach is like, you listen here. You listen to me. Because I'm the only one with a discernible accent in the film. You can tell me all day what you can't do. But even when you say it, even when you say you can't do it, You know what's in there? It's can. Keep saying that you can't do it. Keep saying that you can't do it. Every time you say you can't do it, you're saying you can do it, but you're adding extra. You don't need the extra. You can do it. You can do it if you just want it bad enough. How bad do you want it? How bad do you not want to be a loser? This team, they beat you every year. That's why we're doing the film. Every year, they beat you. We covered it. And we even covered in the foreshadowing that one of you is going to have a lifetime injury. But every year, they beat you in this game that doesn't really mean anything. But you put your bodies on the line to lose out of fear. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You got to put your bodies on the line one more time. This is your very best I want from you, because this is it. You're seniors. This is all you have. Some of you are barely going to graduate. And none of you are making it to the NFL. So unless you want the last game that you ever played in your entire life to be a loss, you'll go out there and you'll put your joints, your tendons, your cerebellum. You'll put your knees, your ankles, your Achilles, your MCLs, your ACLs, your finger joints. You'll put it all on the line, all for the sake of that American pigskin to get to the other side. Because this is war. This is exactly like war, except you're not really fighting for anything. And when you win, when you make it to the other side, when you get that touchdown and you're standing there and they topple over the field goal post, which is going to cost thousands of dollars, and everyone runs on the field to try to lift you up, and they hurt their backs because they're old. But you're all this town has, because industry left decades ago. And so they'll try to lift your oversized bodies on their shoulders. But it won't work, because everyone in this town somehow has sciatica. So it's not gonna be pretty. But when they lift you up, and you, quarterback, when your girlfriend tells you she's been keeping it from you the entire season, but she's pregnant, you'll be like, wow, at least my son's gonna have a winner as a father. And you, running back, when you're holding your leg hoping it's not that bad, it is that bad, by the way. Hoping it's not that bad. You're dragging it, trying to celebrate with everybody because you're behind, because everyone sort of ran to where the touchdown was and you were hurt, so you couldn't get there, and then everyone trampled you, but you got up, which is important. When you're all lifting your helmets, like they're the helmets of warriors. I want you to think about this speech. I want you to give yourself this speech every day that you go to a job that you hate. Because this is how you're going to get through life. This is an all-American pep talk. Now go out there and win. Or don't and hate yourself for the rest of your life. But go out there and do it, right? I felt like Gail got a way worse pep talk than that. I feel like Gail's pep talk was just like, girl, why are you so nervous? You ain't gonna die. You know how hard it is to die? You're not gonna die. Just because you're going miles above the earth and then they shoot you in there with fire, you're not gonna die. It's just, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a little explosion under you, and then that's gonna shoot you up in the air, and then you'll be in space. You'll be floating. And I'm sure they got it under control. I'm sure you're not gonna float forever and then never come back. I don't even think they would let that happen, all right? And then when you come down, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I'm sure you won't be like, oh! Like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. When you head back down, I bet you it's gonna be so smooth. You're gonna be floating down in a little parachute they do, and then I guarantee it. And then when you fall, you know, when the little craft hits the ground, you won't break your back at all. You know what I mean? That's already been done. We talking research in the 60s and 70s where people came back down and broke their whole back. That's not you, okay? That's not gonna be you at all right? All you gotta do is just trust the experts that have already built this thing. Trust the people that trained you and went through the process of what's gonna happen. And trust that, you know, at the end of the day, God is in control. So if it's your time to go, it's your time to go anyway. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you do all the math you want, but if the Lord wants you, he'll take you. And that's, you know what I mean? That's not, you know, we not on our time, we on God's time. And so if God wants you to die right now, you be dead. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you worried? Just, you know. You made everything right with everybody before you went, right? Like, it's not like you even need to. I'm just saying, like, when they close the door, just ask for forgiveness. And then let what will be, you know? Que sera, serat. No, she just looked like she got one of those rough pep talks that had her like, okay. And they went in there. And when they shot up, they had about, I had to read this part, I wasn't sure, but they had about 4 minutes of like weightlessness, which I thought was zero gravity. It turns out it wasn't actually zero gravity. They were falling, but slowly, because they went up to the, I'm gonna mispronounce it, but they went up to like the Kármán line, and the Kármán line was discovered by this dude named Kármán, named after himself. That's what dudes tend to do. It's my thing. So just so you don't forget who brought you here. But yeah, Kármán was he was German, and you know I had the absolute pleasure and the honor of going to the Jet Propulsion Lab today. And getting a tour. Well, don't clap for me. I didn't know anything before I got there. But I got a tour, and they they were explaining that Kármán was German, but he came over before. He wasn't a Nazi. He came over before everything really popped off in Germany, and then he actually helped develop rockets to shoot at the Nazis. He was kind of the most opposite of a Nazi you could be. He was kind of like, hey, get him, right? Which did make it awkward when we brought those Nazi scientists here. That's gonna be a quiet day in the lunchroom. Woo! You just eat your sandwich, it's like, oh, hello, Hans. I see you made it out. Beautiful weather. Yeah, basically, they went up to the Kármán line, and then when you go past the Kármán line, that's like when you're like in space. Now, admittedly, I didn't know any of this, so I thought it was all space. I thought as soon as you left, it was space. I'm not saying I've ever been on a flight and I was like, ugh, space. I'm saying like they were high enough that they saw the moon and they saw like the corners of the earth that just looked cloudy, and I was like, that looked like space to me. It's very spacey. And what I loved about them floating, so a lot of people gave them like a ton of flack as if they were just taking selfies the whole time. It's not they were taking selfies. There's just cameras in the thing. They were looking at the cameras, but the cameras are above the window. So everybody's like, why are you looking at the camera? Look out the window. It's like, no, they were looking at both. They can see the window because the camera's right above it. And so they were looking in the camera some of the time, but you can see where everybody's looking out the window too. And they were weightless, so they were all excited. They're like, oh, look. And they were like, one of my favorite things was at every stage, there's just so many there's so many shots of Katy Perry floating in front of the camera that were genuinely very fun. Like they're like someone will just be in the middle of like, and then Katy Perry. Man, yeah, that was great. That was dope. Like, and she just had stuff too. There was one point she had this daisy, and I was like, all right, yeah, I guess. She had like her tour set list there. I was like, y'all let Katy bring anything she want on the flight. That's wild. Man. I was half expecting Katy to bring a picture of Katy up there. That was dope. That was dope. And they were having fun up there, you know. It was nice to see people, you know, have fun. Then they came down and everybody was so mad. Everybody was so mad at them. Everybody treated those 6 women like they were another reboot of an all-female Ghostbusters. Everybody. People were so mad at them. They landed and people were like, why'd you go in space? Why were you floating, Katy? Like, geez, sorry. Man. And admittedly, they got out, and I did see Katy's interview. Right when she got out of the craft, and look. All right. I'm gonna do my best. Okay. I know when somebody is like annoying or odd online and you say one thing, you're one person that says one thing, it's not, in your mind, that big of a deal because you're one person saying one thing. You might not even be saying anything that nasty. You're one person saying one thing. But if 10 million people all say something, we are now piling on one person who didn't do anything but be, I don't know, I guess a little tone deaf or annoying or whatever, right? So quickly, what could have been like a couple people being like, that's not it, turned into the entire internet being like, oh, send her back. That's me quoting Wendy's. You know Wendy's, the sandwich company. You know Wendy's of baked potato fame? Wendy's was like, send her back. And then even, you know, Katy's team shot back at Wendy's like, how dare you wish death on Katy Perry? It's like, all right, both of y'all need to chill because she didn't die the first time. They said send her back. I don't think anybody's wishing death on. All right. And then, you know, she had her interview, and I've been the person who has tried to help the person who didn't hear what they sound. Okay, a good example is there was a foreign exchange student one time at my school, and whenever people transfer, especially like the year's already started and they transferred, right? That is an easy target for other kids. That's a kid that's I'm not saying they have to get bullied, but are potentially gonna get bullied, because now anyone who is at the bottom of like the high school hierarchy, there's a new person. We don't know anything about this person, so unless they prove that they're very, very cool very, very quickly, they can be at the bottom. And because no one wants to be at the bottom, the people that were at the bottom also pile on this person, right? And so I remember just being in conversation with people like, hey, chill, leave them alone. I know they're a little odd. I look back, I was bullied. I was bullied when I was a kid. And now as an adult, I look back and I'm like, bullying is wrong, but I do see where a couple of them were coming from at certain points where I was doing the most. Like there were a couple times I did open myself up to some scrutiny. Yeah, I mean, like there are a couple of days that I could have not been humming some musical theater number so loud in the boys' locker room. Like I could have not invited some of that in. I know I was just being myself, and everybody should be allowed to be themselves, but there's also common sense.
And I don't know. Yeah, I was definitely in that situation one time as a kid. And I was like, hey, look, I know that they're different, but they're different. Just chill, right? And then one time they took out all the crystals, put them on the desk. Class hadn't started yet. All the crystals on the desk. Everybody, look, what you doing? It's like, oh, these are my crystals. And then I was like, all right, y'all, be cool. Be cool. And then they grabbed two of the crystals and they're like, I'm like, not, see, you're not helping me help you. You see you're not helping me help you right now. Who else in the class? Who else doing it? I'm not saying don't be an individual. I'm just saying, you know these aren't good people around us right now. I don't want anybody to be just bullies for being themselves, but yeah, she comes out and they ask her, some questions. And admittedly, this is the other thing people gotta keep in mind, that some of the questions they asked her were a setup, because that person interviewing her was not like a journalist. I'm pretty sure they worked at Blue Origin. Because the first thing they say to her is like, you're officially an astronaut. She didn't say that. They said that to her. And she was like, thank you. And then they were like, tell me how you feel. And she was like, I feel so connected to love. Y'all be cool. See what I'm saying? You see, this is how it happens. I know. I heard it too. I know. But y'all be cool. Because Katy Perry was doing a lot. In fact, Gayle King, they asked Gayle King. They were like, hey, what was it like? And then she was like, oh, we get up there and Katy actually sang. When we were up there, she sang What a Wonderful World. We were up there. And to me, just to me, that sounds like a little too much. We only gonna be up here for like 5 minutes. I don't know if I wanna be floating, listening to what you've elected to sing to us. It wasn't like they were floating like, Katy, now! Like that wasn't... I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not saying anyone didn't enjoy it either. All I'm saying is that that's what Gayle King said, and when she said it, I had hoped. This is what I genuinely want from the bottom of my heart, is for Katy Perry to have sang What a Wonderful World like Louis Armstrong. That would have been fire. I'm not gonna lie. That's a Katy I can get behind. If Katy, I see his ring. Railroad through. Floating? If Katy Perry had been floating, singing what a
I think to myself,
be amazing. Oh. That would have been incredible. Look, That's the thing that I don't know how much they paid to take that flight. I would pay that much money to see Katy Perry do that, floating. That'd be amazing. But you just, in your heart, you kind of know that's not what she did. You know what I mean? You know she did it in the most, like, theater kid way possible. You know what I mean? You know, they in space, they float, and you know she was like you know that... Go ahead and plug up that one ear. Try to find the note somewhere. And you floating too, so it's extra hard to find. People were so mad. I didn't even know, like, I don't admittedly know much about space at all. I don't at all. That's the wildest thing is that I shouldn't even tell you this, but basically, okay, so I went to the Jet Propulsion Lab and they showed us this, these arrows that are basically tracking pretty much like all the things that are known, right? So pointing at Mars, pointing at certain, like planets, moons, everything. And the arrows will randomly change based on what they're pointing at. And admittedly, this is how dumb I am, right? I was confused when everything wasn't just pointing up. I'm not a flat earther. But I can see how people get there because in my head, it said Mars and then it went left and I was like, Mars ain't left. This thing broken. Mars ain't left at all. That's crazy. Mars supposed to be up. I'm getting an attitude in my head. I'm like, Mars supposed to be up. What you mean Venus down? You ever been, that's where China is. People don't have any sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's wild. They just It went to point at Saturn and it was pointed at me. I was like, this thing broke, dog. I'm telling you. No. I don't know much about space, and there were so many people that were like, they faked the whole thing. They didn't even go up. They never went up at all. The whole launch was AI, and then when they landed, that was a tape from a different time, because those people definitely died. And it's like, no, they don't need to fake it. They don't. I'm not trying to come out in support of like Blue Origin specifically, but it's like they don't need to fake it. This is like the 11th one that they did. They did like 10 of these already, and no one cared. Like, they didn't do the whole press run like they did for this one, so they just did 9 of them in peace. The first one that they did, I think, was William Shatner was on it, and he was like, I was saying all this space stuff, and it's like, bro, you also... Like, that is the one thing I'll say. That is like the one critique that I have of the internet's response to this, is that it's like, a part of me is like, y'all are mad because it's all women. You know what I mean? When William Shatner got off and he was saying all the space stuff, you were like, oh, William Shatner got to go to space. That's so cool. And it's like, yeah, that is cool. That it's cool for anybody to get to go to space because it's space. It's rare, you know? But you can't let him off the hook for saying like hoity-toity stuff just because he played space. This is my thing. Maybe I'm the only one that feels this way, but I was happy for Gail that she got to go. I know that she's not, you know, like an astronaut. I know she's not trained in this sort of thing, but Gail needs a break. We make Gail interview everybody before their life fall apart. We made Gail interview R. Kelly right before jail. Don't act like you don't remember that. We made Gail sit there. R. Kelly know he going to jail too. You could smell the jail on him. He knew he was going to jail. That's why he was sitting there, didn't know what to do. He was half singing, half crying. Is this working? Sweating, people coming up to blot the sweat off. And you're like, y'all kidding me? Hitting notes while he screams. Gail had to sit there the whole time. Robert. Robert. Are these cameras on? I hope these cameras are. Robert. Gail needed a break. Let her have a break. You know, let her go to space for a second. Because there's not that many differences. Tons of similarities in the people who went up to space and the people that went to Coachella. There's a ton. Both have potentially horrific bathroom experiences. You know what I mean? Like true, imagine. Because first of all, you at Coachella, right? And you just trying to get through your day, see your favorite bands, have experiences with your friends. You're financing this thing. It's gonna take you months to pay off, trying to make the most of it. And so maybe, yeah, you had a chili dog before you came. Now you're standing there, sort of stand dancing, listening to Weezer. Sick riff comes in, and right then you feel it. Not a quiet one. A quiet one is your body telling you, hurry. You ever have one of those quiet ones that like, it's just a moment, and only you know it happened. You're the only person in the world that knows. It reminds me of those moments in a horror movie where a little kid's like, run. So you book it. You go out of whatever badge area you have and everything. You don't care about anything. You're just running, trying to get through. And what do you find? A line. A line to use one of the most blown out porta potties in the history of America. This thing, it's like a little wooden. It's like they're not even supposed to be wooden anymore. This is from Woodstock, 1977. Same thing. You know, maybe try and make the most of life. You get this incredible experience. You get to go to space. You get to go to space with these incredible new women that have come into your life through this experience. You've had your 2 days of training together, getting to know each other, doing this like op-ed together and everything, and you try and enjoy life to the fullest, and so you do. You get ready to go on this space trip. It's gonna be 11 minutes, but they're gonna be an incredible 11 minutes of your life. And so yeah, before you leave home, you have a chili dog. You have a chili dog, and you're walking on, and you ring the bell. You're having a good time. You strap in and everything, and right as you strap in, you're waiting to take off, and you hear. They take off, you feel a couple G's, you're like, no. You get into space. You almost touch the Kármán line.
And then you hit the ground. You hit the ground. Plop. Okay. I made it. 11 minutes. I held it together. You pop out of the little pod, trying to calmly look for the nearest bathroom. Everybody clapping. Everybody clapping. Oprah there, the Jenners, everybody clapping. And then somebody runs up. How's it feel to be an astronaut? Can I tell you in 5 minutes? Oh, there's a ton of similarities with Space Trip and Coachella. Both cool outfits. You know, people at Coachella usually make theirs, but they have these cool suits made and everything. Both things sponsored by Amazon, sponsored by Bezos. Both things yield really interesting, esoteric captions on Instagram. You know, they ask Katy Perry how she feels, and she goes, "I feel so connected to love." This is the most powerful spiritual loving experience I've had, second to the birth of my child, right? And be honest. Tell me that's also not Instagram caption about Coachella. Like if we're being fair, you know? When I watched Katie's interview right out of the pod, I was like, y'all clouded this woman just because the edibles hit. Like, everyone was so mad. They were so mad. And I don't even think they're mad at, like, Katie or any of those women. I don't think they're mad that, like, the thing is, like, tone deaf in nature or whatever. I think they're mad because people are, like, having a hard time living. Do you know what I mean? It's like they are kind of like the easy placeholder right now for how we feel about how the actual world is. No one's really mad at them. If they had gone and come back, you wouldn't have known. That's how little it affects our actual lives. But we're mad because we see it and we see because the thing with a Blue Origin as well is we don't actually know how much it costs to go up. And we know some people get invited to go up and some people have to pay. But they do a thing, and this is very crafty. This is how the rich stay rich, right? We know that it's like $150K deposit if you want to go. We don't know what the next installments are. And I feel like we don't know what the next installments are so they can charge people different stuff. Because maybe you put down 150 and then you have to pay another 150 to go up. And then you put down 150, but you got to pay 500,000 to go up. And as long as y'all don't talk, it's all good. Because these people come together from all walks of life and all these different places in the world, and they go up. But for a similar flight, for a similar flight to what they did, there was a guy who paid $28 million. All right? He's allowed to be mad. He's allowed to be mad that anybody got to do it for free because 28 million. Even if you're a billionaire, 28 million is still a dent. Like that's wild. 28 million. So I'm just saying. It's wild that thing. We're assuming anyone on that flight had to pay. I can't imagine Bezos making his fiance pay. You know, I don't know if anybody on that flight paid. And I know that the only poor version that we have of what they did is froyo. Because you ever been filling up your cup and you don't have that much of your account, so you gotta fill it with hope. You gotta hope that, like, that's a lot of air. That's a lot of air. Let's just put it on the weight right here. $5.50, thank goodness. One time I was getting froyo and I was by myself, but there was a woman checking out before me, and she had stuffed it, got the cookie dough in there, and she had the M&Ms. She had a couple extra flavors, and it was high. It was like a little pyramid of froyo and everything. And then old boy went to ring her up, and it was $135. And I was like, I know he lifting the scale because I'm looking at $17 easy. And then it was my turn. And I put my little one flavor with 2 popping bobas in there. And he rang me up for $13.59. And I was like, so, you got your thumb on it or what you do? This is crazy. Because I don't think we're that mad at them. I think what's actually happening is that it's very hard to get by right now. And it's hard to escape. And I don't know, everyone could use a little escapism one way or another. And we're losing access to that because whether you want to go on spring break, and spring break is the most expensive it's been in potentially recorded history, or you want to just go to Coachella. Dude, Coachella tickets. So I didn't even know this was happening. Apparently there are people that are like financing their Coachella trip in like installments. Like they putting Coachella on layaway. And it's not like some people. Apparently it's like 60% of ticket goers are like on a payment plan for Coachella, which is insane. That's wild. That you, in increments, long after, you still paying for Coachella, long after Coachella and stuff. And then you see these people who get a break. They get to go to space for free. And you know they could have paid. You know they could afford to pay it. You get angry. And I think people would be less angry if they just went ahead and whether they did a whole flight or half a flight filled with people who just need a break. You know what I mean? That's all you gotta do. Just get like two of the most tired moms you can find. And you barely have to pitch them. It's like, look, you will be weightless for 5 minutes. They'll be like, put it in my veins. You know, just find like one server who's done like 2 doubles in 2 days. You will go to space and you won't be able to hear anything. Yes, that sounds right. You know, just somebody who's down on their luck, just needs to pick me up. Somebody who life has been incredibly hard for. You just grab them and you tell them, hey, I'm gonna give you a trip to space. It won't be long, but it'll be spectacular. You will see Earth in the way that few people will ever get to in their entire lives. You'll see the beauty of the entirety of the planet, and you'll see how small all these people, all these problems, all these things are in the grand scheme of the universe. And Katy Perry will sing What a Wonderful World like Louis Armstrong to you. It'll be spectacular. Y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a fantastic night.
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
Before I came here in San Francisco, there was a pirate. No, it gets worse. There was a pirate threatening a tourist from Brazil with a blowtorch, right? Which as a pirate, you really shouldn't even have, because you're supposed to be on boats, you're supposed to be around a lot of wood, you shouldn't even have a blowtorch. That's not even a useful weapon for you, right? It should have been a sword, it should have been like a flint pistol, something. That would have made sense. If he had a flint pistol and he pulled it on him, even in the streets of San Francisco, I'd be like, he's on theme. But a full-on blowtorch, how, right? And
when I tell you that this man was a pirate, I don't just mean that he was dressed like a pirate. I think he was a pirate. Like, I think he didn't seem like land was treating him well, okay? And so now he has a blowtorch, right? And he's cursing out this person who apparently is this tourist from Brazil, which also, if you're a tourist, I'm not saying don't go to San Francisco, but I'm saying if you are an international tourist coming to the United States, especially for the first time, and the first thing that happens when you get here is a pirate. A pirate roll up on you with a blowtorch, which in any language is confusing, by the way. Like, you don't need to be speaking English to understand that this is a wild scenario that's happening right now, right? And so, they're over here arguing. Now, the person who really saved the day was someone that worked at a coffee shop that saw what was happening outside, right? And so then they ran up and they were sneaking up behind the pirate, right? Getting real. Yeah, and it was one of those sneak ups where I was like, ooh, if he turned around, you cooked. Like, if he turned around, because he was quick with it, but he was very smooth with all his movements. But it took him a while to like get close, right? Like he was. You know what it looked like to me? Okay, like when you go to the zoo and something went wrong, and so then one of the zookeepers is like trying to get them back in the cage. Or they trying to like let them know that that kid in front of you, that's not food, but they getting close real slow, like they're just like, okay, buddy, all right. It's because you know what it is? You can tell the level of danger somebody knows they're in as they're approaching by the hip movement. Because he wasn't just walking up like he really like was pivoting as he was getting in. He was like, all right. Okay, all right. It feels like if you use hips only to move forward, nobody will hear you. It's like almost a universal thing when people try to sneak up, That's why you don't see, you like, that's not how your grandparents sneak up or whatever. Because if they tried it, like if your grandma tried to sneak up behind you real good and everything, you just be hearing. So she's like, I'm gonna have to lean, right? But anyway, this dude is like sneaking up behind him, getting real close, and in an instant, snatches the blowtorch and runs off, right? So now we sort of neutralized the main threat. But the pirate was like, you think I need that blowtorch? I'm a pirate in San Francisco. On the streets in 2024, I don't need weapons. My presence alone is a threat. And so then somebody's filming the whole thing, which normally I'm like, why do people do this? Why do people film instead of help? You know what I mean? Like, why do people just from afar and then they're filming and this is another person who could have been helping that because that guy's sneaking up by himself. He's just, you know what I mean? But then, as someone who watches all the videos, I do get it. Like, I do. You want to criticize it, but if it wasn't for this guy filming, I wouldn't know this was happening. This didn't make the news. It's just regular San Francisco 5 p.m., right? So then, sneaking up, snatches the blowtorch, runs off, right? Now, as he's running off, now this was almost cinematic. You couldn't have planned this better. Because as the coffee shop worker who was running off with the blowtorch passes the camera, like right as his head passes the camera, you see that the pirate had already started punching, right? So it was just boom like that, right? Now this guy tries to roll with it, and he had good form, especially for a tourist that is being approached by a pirate. I would have just been hit. I would have just been like I don't think I would have moved. Like, this dude really rolled with the punch. Now this is when the two nudists come into the picture, right? Because there were some nudists that were there anyway. They were gonna be naked no matter what. So when the two nudists come up, they're like, this is what we do. We didn't get, because a part of you, if you don't know anything about the culture, you thinking like, oh, they see a pirate, they're like, it must be safe to get naked. They just let you do whatever you want. So they were naked anyway, right? So then one of the nudists sees what just happened, sees that this tourist has been assaulted by this pirate. So then he run up and come in with his, it was really beautiful sequence, because basically the pirate was like, bow, right? And then the nudist comes up and it's like, bow. And then when the nudist swings, okay, so the nudist hit so hard that he did lose his footing, right? So then him and the pirate both fall. And now this is the first point in time where the pirate looks like somebody in this scenario is more uncomfortable than me, right? Like because you see, okay, so the pirate punches that dude and he's clearly like having his own journey, right? But what snaps him back to reality in a moment's time is not only being hit by the nudist, but when they both fall, you can see the pirate. Okay, so the pirate his back is to the camera and you can't really hear him, but you can hear this little like, and then him and the nudist are getting up. Now, if you think, I try to put myself in the mindset of everybody involved in the video, right? Because there's a lot going on, you know? We already got this hero who snatched the blowtorch. Now, this person, we don't know how long they've lived in San Francisco. We don't know how long they worked at the cop shop. We don't know how long they've known this pirate, right? But the way they sprung into action, you could tell it was like, I have to do something, right? They took it upon themselves. Now, as the tourist, I've already mentioned, you being accosted by this pirate, that's weird enough to make a person freeze, right? But for a second, I want all of us to put ourselves in the mind of the pirate, all right? Because the pirate, we don't know exactly what was going through this individual's mind, but we know it was something to do with maybe this tourist, maybe he thinks this tourist stole some of his booty, maybe he thinks maybe the tourist is standing on the X that he's trying to dig right now. We don't know what's going through his mind, okay? All we know is that he feels emboldened enough and passionate enough to start swinging. And as soon as he starts swinging, he gets a right cross from out of nowhere. He doesn't know anybody else is in this situation with him except this guy. And so then he gets his right cross, so he fall, and the person that hit him also fall. And then when he looks forward, he sees a naked man. So you can see, even on the pirate, like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. This is too much. Wouldn't that be funny if the pirate was like, I'm a Christian, I don't really... But the pirate is also like getting up and everything. Now, the nudist was fast. So the nudist got up before the pirate really knew what happened, because you could tell the pirate calibrating. Like, when did he get naked? Was he always naked behind me? You could tell the pirate got other stuff on his mind. So he tried to get up, but he's also like, when did this guy... And so then the nudist gets up, and the nudist tries to get another lick in before the pirate can get up, because to be fair to everybody involved, you don't know how quick and strong this pirate is, right? Like, is this a PCP pirate? Or is this a meth pirate? Or is this a crack pirate? We don't know. There are categories. And we don't know which one he falls into. You got your first lucky shot on him, and that didn't knock him out, so now you're in trouble, right? So the nudist gets up quick, and when the nudist, okay, he goes to he goes to do this thing that you really only see happen in like bus fights, where the pirate's still on the ground and he tries to do a little like bow, like he tries to do like an uppercut as he's getting up, and I think he misses. He either missed or it didn't faze the pirate at all. He probably got hit and was still like, where did this guy come from? Because also the nudists were white. And so it's on top of seeing a naked man, you just seeing like, you seeing shades of pink coming at you. Because you got to remember, this dude is ready to fight. So you're not in a regular fight with another dude. Like, also, by the way, I'm pretty sure if I remember the video correctly, the tourist has not left, but he has taken... He's taking the position of an audience member. He just like, yeah, he's crazy. And so then the pirate tries to get that extra lick in, and I think he missed and everything. And then the pirate, they have a couple more little scuffles, because you can tell that the pirate trying to like fight, but he's not trying to get too close. Which is, look, as far as a tactic, because there's a lot that people don't know about martial arts. There's a lot people don't know about self-defense. And it didn't occur to me until I saw that video that man to man, for real, like if you ever in a fight and you don't really want to fight, and you know your opponent doesn't have a gun, right? It's just man on man fisticuffs, right? It would help to get naked. I think the level to which somebody want to fight you goes down the more naked you get. You know what I mean? Like if we have, like you bigger than me, if we have problems right now and you coming at me, but I'm just, like that switches things up for you. Because now you like, what am I going to punch? Like, am I going to, because even if you win and you don't really want to, even if you punching, you just don't really want the risk of touching balls like that. Like if you, because let's say we going head body, but then I go high and you go low, and now all of a sudden my whole knuckles get grazed. But you see, y'all groaning, but I'm right. You don't want to fight now. Next time somebody try you in the street, fellas, just start. Because dudes already take their shirt off. The problem is they not stopping. That's the problem. They're not stopping the whole fight by just taking the rest off. Because the shirt is like, you're not going to be that encumbered by the shirt, right? You might as well drop the pants. Yeah. Even take the shoes off. Really confuse them, right? Yeah. And so you can tell that the pirate really doesn't want to like fully get in there. And so the whole thing starts to just fall apart. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow. I was trying, once again, put myself in the mindset of everybody involved. Like we went through what the tourist must have been thinking, what the pirate must have been thinking. Even the nudist. Nudist had to have something going on in his head to be like, I have to help. This guy has a blowtorch. And even though somebody just took it from, he's clearly trying to attack this person. He just attacked this person. I need to do something, right? I should call somebody. But you don't have any pockets. I wonder if he reached for it too, like we need to get the police. I guess it's me then. Then he ran in like a Superman with his balls out, right? But what I really can't shake is what must have been going on in that second nudist mind. Because both nudists, they were together, by the way. I don't want you to think in the story there was one nudist and then another nudist. They knew each other, right? Maybe they were just walking, enjoying a day, sunning.
And then they see all this yelling going on. What was that? What could be happening? And then they see this guy has a blowtorch to his side. They're like, oh, I hope he doesn't intend to use it. And then, you know, they see this guy strike, and then, you know, first nudist just jumps in, starts swinging. Doesn't really have his footing right, doesn't really have his hands ready, but he's trying. That second nudist must have been like, damn, I think they got it. Like, I think they good, you know what I mean? I do like how, I'm not saying they waited in a way that, I don't mean this person was being courageous for stepping in, but I do understand the self-preservation that takes place where you wait to jump in till that blowtorch is gone, because I'm naked. That blowtorch might burn that tourist, but it would change my life. Yeah. No, it's wild stuff. Oh, I also want to say real quick, thank y'all so much for coming to the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for an amazing weekend and everything. You know, I don't know, you know, when y'all might have seen me for the first time or anything, or, you know, what maybe video it was. I've been posting to YouTube for like a year now, and I started it a year ago where I was just like, I was like just sharing like my thoughts on things, sharing my jokes, feelings on stuff, and I appreciate it because it really, I don't know, that was the thing that really turned everything around, and I got to, in some ways, like meet you, and now I'm getting to meet you for real, and I appreciate this opportunity because it's like, I don't know when you may have seen your first video, or if you even know who I am. You might be like, she brought me. Like, that's also very fair. I will not be offended at all, right? But I appreciate you, for real. I appreciate you taking a chance on me and coming here to have a good time and letting me talk to you and everything. I've done lots of shows that were not. I've done shows where they didn't know I was coming, right? I've done shows where they booked me to do the show, and then I show up, and they're like, "Oh, we also gonna play the Blackhawks game behind you." And I'm like, "Oh, does anybody want a show?" He's like, "No, it's a surprise." Don't surprise. So I've definitely done shows that were, you know, on the rough side because people weren't there to hear what I was gonna say, and I get it. I do get it. That's why I don't take anything lightly, that I get to be here in front of you, and everything that I say, I'm not always going to be perfect, but I try to be thoughtful about what I'm saying, you know. And I think sometimes when you bring something up, because you do comedy, people think whatever you bring up, you're making light of to trash it, or that's why sometimes people get uncomfortable when you talk about anything and you're a comic. They're like, oh, this person's going to be shitty, right? They're going to be shitty about a thing that I care about. And just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I'm belittling it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I take very seriously, but I still feel like I need to talk about because conversation is important, you know? And oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see. It's been a scary day, you know? It has. It's like, I hope you're not finding out from me. But someone at a rally, someone. Don't do that. I'm just telling you what happened. At a rally, someone shot at Trump while he was doing his rally, and I still don't know. There's so much we don't know, but some people say it was a bullet and some people say it was glass, but either way, he got a cut over his ear and the person that was behind him got shot and they died. Right? And they've apparently shot the suspected gunman and everything, and it's just it's one of the wildest days in a long time, because there are days that are like checkpoints throughout American history. Like we had a birth as a country, and then you can set the checkpoints wherever you want, but there are big ones. There are big ones like the country starts and then there's a civil war later, right? And the Civil War is a turning point for the country forever. You know what I mean? There are people that even now say like we're more divided than ever, and I like to remind them that we did have a civil war. Yeah, I mean, like then ever, then you need to read a history book. Then ever. Ever? No, not ever. You know? So you have something like the turning point that happens due to a civil war, which even now, even to this day, hundreds of years, there are people that are hundreds of years removed from the people leading up to the Civil War that were in their family, that they still have differing opinions on like the Civil War, why it happened, how it went down, what should have happened, right? And then you have Lincoln's assassination. That's another turning point for the country forever, right? Because once things are put on the table with time, they're never taken off. There's always something that could happen, you know? And then you fast forward more, and we've had turning points. We've had really scary days. And people can belittle it as much as they want or whatever, but we've had times where we're like, oh, are we a country anymore? And so you see those moments like that, right? And there are people who are even now, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that there's going to be another version of the Civil War, right? Because the people that hate people so much throughout this country for whatever political affiliation for whatever they say. This is the thing about being online as well. When you go around, I go everywhere. I try to go everywhere, and I'm trying to meet people everywhere. And when I meet these people, almost all the people, and some of them are having a bad day, some of them have had a past, whatever, but most people, pretty pleasant, right? It's easy to forget that online, because online people have the safety to be a troll, and there's also bots. So you could go through your life and bump into people all day and have nothing but beautiful experiences. But then you get online and you post a picture of yourself because you're happy about, maybe something that you bought and you look good in, and there's all the comments under it. Why are you wearing that skirt, bitch? It's like that is happening in real life, but that is not real life. Right? The people that you meet in person are real life. The people that you meet every day, that's real life, right? So I'm not saying it's real life as in it doesn't matter. I'm specifically saying that like the grace that you give in person is that's our better nature. That's what we would hopefully have all the time. It's being online that makes people monsters to you before you meet them. You look at those pinpoints, and there are people that are worried about us falling into the trap of another civil war, like so much hate, right? And I personally don't think that's going to happen. I'm not just hopeful. I actually don't think that's going to happen, because if I'm being honest with everyone in here, we don't have the grit. I'm not saying that there aren't people with guns. I'm not saying that people have murderous intentions for their fellow Americans. I'm saying that as a country, it's we would get tired too fast. We would. Like it would be day 8 and there'd be people in America wake up on whatever side you on being like, again? No. No, I'm not saying that violence is impossible, and I pray it doesn't happen. I pray even more now that it doesn't happen than I did before. But I think that it's not going to split up the way that it did. You got to remember, the country was full of colonies, and travel was difficult. So when the country split and we had our full-on civil war, it was a different time, truly, right? And now you have family that lives here, you have family that lives over there, you have family who's moving. Because we're too interconnected now in a way that I think is good, in a way that actually forms a union, right? We're quilted together now. So no matter how you split us up, whether it's north and south, east and west, eventually, whatever side of the war you're on, eventually someone would be like, I just want a good taco. You know, I believe what I believe in, whatever, but I cannot have another bagel. I am stopped up. For my health, I can't do it. And we don't know anything yet. Like we really don't. Everyone's talking, right? It just happened. So everybody is talking, you know? It happened like 6 hours ago, and everybody's talking, everybody's speculating. There's already the conspiracy theories, there's already like some vitriol started. There's already we don't know, and we can't act like we know just because we feel a lot, right? Because this is the other thing. You talk about pinpoints in time, you talk about checkpoints. Civil War then leads to Lincoln's assassination. That's another checkpoint that we cannot come back from, because once things are on the table, they're on the table for the rest of time. That's why you have to be careful what you say and what you do, you know? And so then you fast forward even more. It makes me think about the assassination attempt on Reagan. Because Reagan, you know, Reagan still is one of those figures that's like either beloved or absolutely despised, right? The policies they put forward and the aftermath afterward, you know, people feel how they feel about it, right? But when you think about that person that shot Reagan, right? We were in a different time of division back then. It was still pretty, you know, relatively civil, relatively ideal by today's standards, right? But let's say we had lost our minds then and been like, oh, this is a plot, this is an inside job, this is a conspiracy. Let's say we lost our minds when Reagan got shot, and then you actually talk to the shooter, and then you find out why he did. He's like, oh, I just wanted Jodie Foster to like me. Imagine that, though. Imagine if we had lost our minds. Imagine if we had had some sort of civil war, some sort of backlash, some sort of retribution over here, all for somebody who's like, did Jodie Foster see it, or just trying to find out what Jodie doing? That's my thing. That's my sincere hope, right? I'm hopeful, and I hope you know that I pray for all of you. I pray for all of us, like I do. And even if you don't subscribe to like whatever metaphysical subscription you hold, right? You know, because at the end of the day, we really are all Americans. I know it doesn't feel that way. But every one of us, just by the reaction that y'all had when I told you that somebody died, you know that we all still have our humanity. We don't want to see anything bad actually happen to anybody, because you don't know that person. You don't know anything about the person that died today, but you know that they were an American, and you know they were a human being, right? And so I think that what I've decided when it happened, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. No matter anyone listening to me, you can do what you want. But when I saw it happen, I decided in that moment that this right here is where I'm going to plant my feet, right? I'm not going to let this make me radical one way or the other. I'm not going to lose my mind
Because we don't know. And two, the humanity we show to each other just in passing, that's really important. And honestly, all this is gonna be funny again in a minute. I haven't forgotten, like I didn't forget. Like I wasn't like, let me get him with the yuck yucks, now lock the door. Like I just hope, like my sincere hope is that this can be the thing that like scares us straight. You know what I mean? Like this can be the thing. It's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't actually want any violence. I don't want anything bad to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're snowballs, right? So I just, you know, I think about that, and I think about, if you're not familiar with the show Scared Straight, basically what they do is they take kids, right? Then kids who are pretty bad, right? They're like bad kids, and then they tell, and the kids are very hard to root for, because by the beginning of the episode, they're always like, I punched my grandma in her face, right? And then they take them to jail, and they spend a weekend at jail, because it really just takes a weekend. They spend a weekend at jail with the inmates, and then they try to do what they do at home with the inmates. Like, I punched my grandma in the face, and then one of the inmates is like, kiss me. And it's just, it changes, right? It changes the vibe. And I'm not saying it works for every kid, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof thing. We can talk about child psychology however you want, but I'm saying for the kids that it does work for, it was actually something bad happening that woke them up, right? It wasn't just me coming to my senses one day. It was like, this is rock bottom. You know? You don't just wait for rock bottom. You don't just try to fall until you find it. You can decide it for yourself. This feels like granite. I think I'll stop here, right? But I also know that, like, sometimes if you don't say anything, if a thing goes unsaid, people think it goes unthought, right? And if you don't reach out to people don't know you care about them. I care truly. And people are going to feel the way they feel about me or feel about me talking about this, but I care about every single American in a serious way. We're a country, and we're a country of people that are different. We're a family of people that sometimes hate each other. That's what family does most of the time. I went and got a dentist through unconventional means. Basically, my dentist was handing out coupons. You know the little door knocker coupons that they put on the doorknob? Okay, so my dentist had been putting those on the doors in my neighborhood, and so I came home one day and I grabbed it and came inside. It was that and 2 pizza coupons, and I was reading it. I really don't even remember what the deals were, but this is when everybody was trying to make everything a coupon, like in 2013, 14, when everybody was like Groupon was big and all this stuff like that. Like, I don't remember what the deals were, but it was like 2 teeth get 1 free. Whatever it was, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a teeth cleaning on there, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go get my teeth cleaned at my new dentist, because if this dentist has coupons, this is the dentist for me. I have no money. And I didn't have like dental or anything, so I was like, I need any break I can get. Now, I went there, and the dental assistant was very professional. She was very good, and that's my thing, is that any professional of any type, you want them to be confident in their competence, right? Like, you want that's why you lean on them, because they look like they know what they're doing, and they have the confidence somebody that knows what they're doing, so you just leave it to them, right? If there's any point where you have to question that, it ruins the whole like, I've been on the bus before where the bus driver looked lost. And I'm like, why is he checking his phone? Like, I'm in this dentist office. The dental assistant is amazing, and she's very quick, and she's asking me the questions. They even do the X-ray of my teeth, where they put the thing in their mouth. They're like, doo, that's your teeth, right? Like, she did all that stuff, and then my dentist comes in, and my new dentist, walks in, and he is very clearly missing a tooth. And it's not like a wide smile, back of the mouth chewing tooth. This is one of the stars of the show. This is one of the teeth that when you smile goes like, ba-da, like it's. And so he missed, I don't know how to describe this, but he misses the tooth hard. Like he might as well be missing two teeth the way he missing this tooth, because it's not a center tooth, but it's one of those teeth where because it's missing, I don't know how big it should be, so it feel like he missing the whole front row. Like it's very distracting, right? And so then he come in, and I don't know if it was recent that he lost his tooth or something, but the space in relation to his tongue is causing some slippage, and it's making him lisp, right? And so he walks in, and he's like, "Hi, how are you? Have a seat." Because I stood up to shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And I'm like, and then this dude is like, so he's sitting next to me, right? And he's talking, and he's asking me all the questions, and then so he goes, "How much do you floss?" And this, so I was getting upset in the chair because he's asking me, "How much do you floss?" And I'm like, "Oh, I floss every day." He's like, "Are you sore?" And I'm like, I got so upset. I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my head, but I was like, okay, but which one of us is missing? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you question what I'm doing over here when I'm working with a full set? You know what I mean? Like that. That's why. Are you sore? Like, I was like, that's unacceptable. Because he was getting snippy with it, which I didn't like. That's attitude, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I don't like how he's going about it, because you know how the dentist, well, sometimes the dental assistant will do it, but sometimes the dentist specifically will go through with the floss again and go over the dental assistant's work if they didn't feel like they did it right. And then he was grabbing all the tools, like the little sharp, little pokey, the tools of the devil, right? He was grabbing all of them, and he was in my mouth and everything. And I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like he being rough with my mouth. You know what I mean? And he being rough in a way that's like, like when you driving and somebody got a beat up car, so they driving reckless because they don't care. They don't care anymore what happens to their car. So they might as well bust up your car because their car's already doomed, right? And you'll see it'll be like a busted tail light and just no bumper at all. And they taking some real risks without turning lights on, right? They won't have that blinker on at all. They just be taking whatever lane they want because they're like, hit me, I dare you, right? Hit me. You might knock something back right. You'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and hit me, okay? And so that's how he's being in my mouth, because he's really like going hard. And then he gets to the tooth on me that he missing, and he really give it a, and I'm like, that's not okay, Just because it's over for you doesn't mean like I still have a future. You know what I mean? Like, how dare you do that? And so then, I don't know if it's because I'm young and I'm just like not really thinking, or because I'm awkward in a lot of social situations anyway. But finally, I was just like, so what happened?
What just happened?
And then this man had the nerve to go, what, this? What else could I mean, sir? No, there's something on your lip. No. He's like, oh, this? I was like, yeah. And then he takes the tools out, you know, the little hose that they have in your mouth, and just sucking up all. Puts that to the side, puts the tools down, puts his hands on his knees, and goes. Got sullen, right? I felt bad for asking. He got really quiet and sullen. He was like, I hoped you wouldn't notice. Sir, you came in here teeth first. Smiling in my face, and you thought I wouldn't notice one of the main teeth.
Rude.
I can't stress this enough. Like, it was one of the teeth that if he committed a crime, that would be how they got him. Like, that's... Do you know what I mean? Like if he stole something tonight, they'd be like, it was this one that was... You know what I mean? Didn't even have a gold tooth in there. Didn't even have something to be like, oh, I'm a different type of dentist, right? It didn't... Just avoid. And it was big enough I could see through, like I could see his throat. Like it was... And he got sullen and he was like, it's actually recent. I was out with some friends. And this is my thing. Okay, like, I know he telling me the story because it wasn't even my business, so he didn't have to tell me anything. So I know he's doing me a favor by telling me the story, but I swear to you, this man hit every S possible in this story. He didn't avoid any of them. I was like, what are you doing right now? Bro, every single S? That's crazy. So he's like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was out with some friends, and we were watching the sports on the little sports center they have with all the TVs and everything. There was one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time from college. It was very serendipitous, and I was like, that... Don't do that. You didn't need that one at all. That was... You could have said fortunate. That... And so then, you know, we're sitting there, and you know, I was having a good old time. I was sucking the sauce off my fingers and everything. And then there were some guys a few booths away that I would start jawing at one of my friends. I guess they knew him from his past or something. And so then they would start talking, you know, over at us. And so then, you know, we went over there, and you know, they were out here talking shit. And it's like truly some of the most Chicago shit I've ever heard in my life, because these like out here talking shit, and then, you know, I went ahead and I popped one in their mouth, and then he popped me right back, and I swallowed, so that's why I'm missing the tooth, and I heard that and I was like, oh, is that all? Okay, go ahead. Go back to work. You a good dentist. You just not a good fighter. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Maybe next time, let them talk, you know?
Mira.